I got a phone call from my mom, and it was my birthday that night, so it was like, I expected it to be like, oh, happy birthday, but instead it was more of like, what's gonna happen next? And I think that's what really shook me. I was very numb.
11:51, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Trump has just been elected as the President of the United States.
I am the least racist person. They're rapists.
You won't see another black president for generations.
I said, I'm going to get the bathing suits to be smaller and the heels to be higher.
Like you wouldn't have your job if you weren't beautiful. I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay?
Total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States. I think Islam hates us.
Did you mean all 1.6 billion Muslims?
I mean a lot of them. I mean a lot of them.
Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people. I pledge to every citizen of our land that I will be president for all Americans, and this is so important to me. For those who have chosen not to support me in the past, of which there were a few people, I'm reaching out to you for your guidance and your help so that we can work together and unify our great country.
You're an ugly, mean, evil little pig who might get deported.
You're trash. Because I voted for Trump. So what? Trump. You lost. Now give me my money back.
Fuck you and your family, you terrorist fuck. Video all you want. You're an Arab. Trump is president, asshole. So you can kiss your fucking visa goodbye, scumbag. They'll deport you soon. Don't worry, you fucking terrorist.
It is a collective conversation, and I'd really like to hear your thoughts about what we can do and what we need to do. But it is a long-term conversation. So today is just the beginning.
If it's not going to be me, who is it going to be? If it's not going to be now, when? Because at what other moment in time has it been so obvious and in our faces that all of us who sit on the margins of society are being put on the front lines of hateful rhetoric and policy that can hurt our livelihoods and our friends and our families and our ability to move forward in this society.
As a person of color, I've already been used to being scared of the majority, and now that the majority has been revealed to support misogynistic, racist, homophobic, xenophobic, and sexist businessman with a god-awful comb-over, it's probably not surprising to hear that my fears are a little bit elevated.
After the Tuesday election, I went to work on Wednesday, and I looked in the faces of my colleagues who were DACA recipients, who stared at me with blank stares because they did not know if the election of President-elect Trump meant that they and their families would be deported tomorrow, because DACA is only an executive action.
The day after talking to other undocumented students and realizing that I wasn't alone in that sentiment, it was still hard to grasp it, really.
And so what this is telling me is that this moment that we're in isn't a new moment. And this post-Trump panic is not something that we haven't seen before if we really examine it.
Like the recent spike in hearing about heinous acts of ignorance is kind of astonishing. The fact that people think that now that this guy is our president, that's okay. So now that it's like, just let your free flag fly, I guess, which is a little bit dangerous. And I think it's important to remember to just check on people, which is kind of awful that we have to say that.
And the next day, like Oscar mentioned, talking to folks and being able to be people that related to what was going on, it was really healing.
Have an open forum to provide the opportunity for us to speak to each other and address these issues of how we can move forward and create stronger ties and relations with each other across in various communities.
What now? What do we do? What can I do besides write a really long Facebook status and try to like deal with my racist high school Facebook friends and my Trump supporting relatives at the Thanksgiving table who I don't want to make eye contact with? And that problem exists for a lot of us too on the panel, don't get us wrong.
For me, this is a moment of spiritual and political awakening, because you can't just stick with Facebook.
Now more than ever, I want to get involved, and I really hope that I'm not the only one that feels like this. Now more than ever, after seeing all the things that are happening, after seeing that we still get discriminated and oppressed.
We, as people together who feel frightened, are not alone, and we have each other, and I think that's the most important thing to remember at this time, is that no matter how attacked or unsafe you feel, that there are other people who feel the same way.
Being in community is also one of the biggest things. Like, be in community with those you love, be in community, create community, care collectives, whatever it takes, I think is incredibly important to be with each other right now. I think that's more important than anything.
And I think that what this moment speaks to really is a real lack of personal connection.
Part of, I believe, supporting people is learning what their fears are based from and how best to address their fears as a supportive person who maybe isn't going through the same thing.
I also think it's key to recognize the people that want to be educated and the people that don't. The people in this room, for example, are clearly people that want change. I think we all need to unite. We need to have those kind of deeper level conversations. Specifically, target everyone's struggles, because they're all the same.
We all have different struggles and they're interconnected, and I think that's where the connection comes from. So yeah, just reminding you all to empower others and using our story.
Education is vital, and I'm not going to argue against that. We all are a product of a very good educational system that has allowed us to speak our voices here tonight. However, there are people that are just going to refuse to be educated. They'd rather remain ignorant for whatever excuse, and they'd rather be blinded by a rhetoric that targets people that they've never really identified with.
I can't say that your problem is my problem in the sense that you are me, but our interests in moving forward are tied. I can't move forward without you, you can't move forward without me, and ultimately my freedom will be incomplete without your freedom.
I think it's only if our relationships are deeper is that going to actually be able, do we have a hair's chance of being able to rise up in this present moment.
There's a lot of baby steps we can take, and some of us are going to take only X amount of steps in our lifetime as humans and as organizers. And there's a lot of value in understanding that every single one of those baby steps does lead to a collective move forward for our communities. And that we don't all necessarily need to play the who's more radical Olympics.
You love yourself, and that is why you are fighting. No Trump! No KKK, no fascist USA! No Trump! We gon' be alright! We gon' be alright! We gon' be alright!
We didn't have the time to pause. We had to move into action. I've been very proud of my community. We've moved forward quickly because we've had to.
Democracy looks like. Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy